order. First item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have any public comment? Okay, hearing none. Do we have any liaison comments? Okay, hearing none. Chairman's report. There's no chairman's report. Number 5, COVID update.
So COVID update, we're seeing over the last month and a half, we've been seeing an uptick a little bit with our own people. We had a couple of people that were out with COVID. They're spending at least a week out before they come back, get tested, and then when they're clear, they come back. But I anticipate that number going to be going up, especially once it starts getting really cold. Sure, people are going to get sick, and we're going to continue to deal with it. But other than that, I think we're pretty good.
Okay. And are you hearing anything in the community? Is there anything we should be aware of, or is it pretty much?
So there is, like everybody knows, there is another booster shot that came out. I believe this is the 4th shot of the process, or the 5th shot. You can get it, not get it. It's really totally up to you. We're not requiring the guys to get it. If they want to get it, they can get it, as long as they got the first 2 vaccine shots and the 1 booster. At this point, this is where we're at. There is no requirement to get the other shots at this point.
Okay, so it's just available, but it's not required.
Correct.
Okay, does anyone have any questions on that?
Any reason why you don't, not that you have to require it, but any reason why are they not interested in doing it, or what do you think?
It's not that they're not interested in. Some of the guys did it, some of the guys didn't do it, and there's other reasons behind it. Whether they want to get it, they don't want to get it, they think it's effective, it's not effective. At this point, I don't think it's a make or break game with who's not getting it than who is getting it. So we haven't actually required it at this point, where we're actually requesting it at this point.
Okay, any other questions? All right, hearing none. Review current financials.
Okay, so the financial statements, did everybody get a copy of this sent to them? I believe they did. Tina?
Yes.
So yes, everything.
Okay. One thing that we're going to talk about on our chief's report is going to be the repair maintenance line at 80,000. We've expended quite a bit. We had quite a few repairs come July 1, and these were unanticipated from, and I'm going to go over that in my report. So that line, when I get to my report, we're going to actually be going over that line. We haven't the last 2 years, but before that, we were spending an average of about $100,000 a year in repairs. There were years we spent 125, 130, 135,000 in repairs for years. Right now we have 80,000 budgeted. That is definitely not going to get us through the year. And as we go into the report, I will actually explain to you what's going on, what's been going on, what needs to be fixed, so on and so on. So that line is definitely going to be a line to keep an eye on. And we're going to be going to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance in the month of October, this month actually, to brief them on and to find out what they believe we should do, whether we should hit contingency now or we should wait until that line's expended and then have them hit contingency. But I think the more information we give them earlier, rather than waiting until we overrun that line, is better than not saying anything. And the finance director believes the same. So that's where we are with that line. The other lines, I think right now we're okay with. The other line we're gonna be looking at later in the year is the technical line, 55120. So we have more supplies to buy and everything else. We've been trying to keep below the budget for a few years now, and we need to keep up with that, and we need the supplies as we need them. As you know, supplies are harder and harder to get, even in the fire service, along with everyday items. So even though we order an item today, we may not see it for a couple months before it comes in. We ordered a saw, I want to say back in April, and we actually just took delivery of it last week, 2 weeks ago. So there is a long lead time on a lot of these things. So we need to order in anticipation of when we need these items instead of ordering them and seeing them in a week or two. So that's where we're at. That's a line to take a look at. Everything else, I think right now we're in line with. The other line we're going to keep an eye on is the data processing line. We switched over to, and it's going to be part of my report. The town back in June, late May, June, to get insurance, we needed to switch over to a better security system than we had for IT, which is Sentinel-1, and also dual authentication, which we'll talk about in my report. So that also came with with a dollar figure that wasn't anticipated, and we'll go through that then. So other than that, I think we're okay, and we'll go from there.
All right, anyone have any specific questions?
No.
All right, the fire chief's report.
All right, so let's talk about the budget while we're on it. Repair maintenance has just been high. We had an issue with the ladder truck in July. It was going to get tested. We had a couple cylinder issues that makes the ladder go up. There's two big cylinders there, along with the cylinders on the bucket. We had to get that repaired before it went to ladder testing because it would not pass. The truck is a 1992 LTI. So we had to get those fixed, along with some other hydraulic issues going on with the ladder. That repair right now, as it stands, was $22,380, which was not anticipated for. Tanker 5. Right now, it's at Freightliner New England. It's getting some work done. Let me start over. It went to New England Fire. It needed a regular PM, which is around $2,000. And then at Freightliner, it needs more work because there was an issue with the engine and the exhaust and stuff like that. And right now, that bill there is at $4,758. We haven't gotten that truck back yet. Hopefully we'll get it back this week. But right off the hop, right there, we're at almost $7,000 in a repair for Tanker 5 that was not anticipated for, once again, at the beginning of this year. Engine 9 had a oil leak. It was dripping pretty consistently. We were losing a lot of oil. So if it was sitting in the bay floor, I was sitting on the bay, we would be losing oil. When it was on a scene, we'd be having to put speedy dry down and dealing with an oil spill on the scene. We had to get that fixed, and roughly that's around $3,000 to fix that issue. And we had to get that corrected right away so we didn't blow up the motor or have an issue with the truck. Rescue 1 actually just came back today. That's roughly going to be around $3,000, $3,500. We had an exhaust problem in that truck underneath the cab where it rotted away, and we were exhausting fumes into the cab of the truck, which is bad for firefighters because of CO. We needed to fix that, along with, we had a winch problem. We had a wiring problem that we had to rewire the winch. we needed to correct that right away. We have engine 2 that needs to go out, and we have some issues. We have some issues with engine 2. We have a rough estimate. The truck has not gone out and gotten torn apart yet, and I'm trying to wait more. I'm trying to kick this thing down the road a little bit, hopefully sometime in April, May to deal with instead of right now. But we're around the area of about $15,000 to fix that truck, give or take a little bit. So with all these unanticipated numbers, where we are, we're probably around $50,000 that was not anticipated on fixing this year, that we actually had to hit pretty hard July, August, and September, and here we are in October. Tanker's out, so I can't tell you where we're going to end for the year, but hopefully we got a lot of the major things fixed. And engine 9 we're trying to band-aid through, because we have engine 9 on order, a new engine 9 on order. But just to put it in perspective, when we order a truck like engine 9, even though we ordered it probably 6 months ago, we probably won't see it for another 16 to 18 months before we take delivery on it. So we need to keep the other truck up and going and to a standard that is safe for the guys to take it to a call. So that also being said, we had a generator issue, and that comes out of the radio line at Shepherd's Farm on 1990 Litchfield Turnpike, where we had a bad motherboard on the generator and a bad fuel pump. That alone was almost $7,000 to fix. So we put a memo together to send that out for contingency for the town to cover that, because there's definitely not going to be money left in that line to be covering these repairs. And we just had our generator maintenance at all the sites again. So we do two levels of service. We do a level 1 and a level 2 service at all the radio sites. And our generator maintenance that just happened last week, realized we have a bad starter at the Oak Lane site. We're trying to get a number on that. We do not have that at this time, but I'm anticipating it's anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 to get that generator fixed. So what that means is, even though the radio stuff is coming out of our budget, but this also serves the police department and public works, we're responsible for the maintenance and to fix these problems at these sites. Meaning that when we lose power at these sites, we won't have a generator backup, meaning the radio will go dead in those locations. So that's why it's extremely important to maintain the generators and to fix it as soon as we have issues with it. The site at 1990, we didn't anticipate having a $7,000 repair, but on the same token, we were going through fuel left and right and realized that the motherboard was bad and the bad fuel pump. So it was constantly pumping fuel into the generator and making it run, and the generator wouldn't shut off even during the test. So each generator gets a test once a week for a half hour. They get put on load to make sure they're doing it. When they be put on load, the generator would not shut off. So we were burning anywhere between 80 and 100 gallons every 4 or 5 days. So we need to deal with that. So the two lines to really look at are repair maintenance machine and the radio line. The other line that we're going to keep an eye on, and we're trying to stay under budget, is William previously retired from the fire department. He's no longer cleaning the fire department anymore. So we had to hire a cleaning service to come in, and they're a little bit more than he was a week, and they come in once a week with about 4 or 5 people to clean. We're going to see how that goes for another few weeks. They just started 2 weeks ago. So far, so good. But on the same token, if COVID numbers start ticking up, we're going to need to increase the cleaning of the firehouse to keep the guys safe, so we don't lose the volunteers where they can't respond to fire calls and motor vehicle accidents.
And Sean, do you still have the supplemental cleaning that was happening in addition to William?
We didn't. We tried to stop it to try to save on the budget number and the budget items. So we actually hired a company to come in and take over both, but that's only 1 day a week compared to having William 4 days a week to wipe the door handles down, wipe the glass down, wipe the tables down, to keep everybody as safe as we can. So we'll see where the numbers go over the next couple of weeks, and if we have to up that, we will up that, and we'll have to deal with the budget as it comes through, and go and explain this to the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance.
All right, and also all of the costs that are associated with apparatus that you talked about, that's what you're going to present to the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance, correct?
Yeah, correct. So we're going to go this month and we're going to explain to the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, everything that was wrong with these trucks. Explain that these are unforeseen things, and when we send them out, as things break or we have issues, we need to repair them per NFPA, per OSHA, per everything else. We need to keep these trucks at a high level of standard. So along with the generators at the radio sites, I mean, some of this, guys, is really out of our control. It's more what we need to do to keep the truck on the road and keep the town safe.
All right, does anyone have questions?
No.
Okay, truck or treat.
This is just to put it in perspective. This is just the apparatus. Then what we have that also comes out of that line is all the equipment that's on the apparatus, meaning the amp kit stuff, the compressors, the generators, all that stuff that is on the truck, we also have to maintain too. So we haven't really gotten to that. We usually deal with that in the colder months and the winter months, but the major stuff we have to deal with now to keep the truck on the road and keep it safe.
Okay, truck or treat.
Truck or treat. Truck or treat is Monday, October 31st. It's going to actually be at the firehouse this time around. Back at the firehouse, we're going to try to do. We have fireworks on board right now. We're trying to get the permits to go along with that. We got the town approval to move forward with that. We want to try to bring some type of normalcy back to the town. We had a lot of requests to have it back at the firehouse instead of Meeting House Lane, which would be a great thing. But on the same token, if numbers start ticking up and it becomes possibly like a spreader event or something not safe, we'll definitely go back to Meeting House Lane, and we'll do a non-contact truck or treat again for another year until we feel safe and the public feels safe that they want to participate. And the idea here is we don't want to infect anybody or make it an event that we're going to get people sick at. So we want to try to bring back some type of normalcy. We're not really going to be serving food at this event. We'll probably do some hot chocolate, maybe some soup, but we don't want to get into serving food where we could possibly be infecting people or anything else. So that's where we're at this point. But we'll take it as it comes, and we'll probably make a decision a couple of weeks before trick or treat and go from there. So I look forward, and I hope you guys all attend, because we could definitely use your help.
Sounds good. Tell us exactly what you need us to do for help.
I mean, if you guys like to hand candy out, if you guys want to be a part of it, I mean, you are the fire commission. We'd love you to be a part of it. If you want to do hot chocolate, whatever, wherever we need you guys to be at, we would love to put you guys to work. So just let me know and we'll see what we can do to do it.
So basically, at a minimum, just show up at Truck or Treat and be available to help with whatever you need help with.
Absolutely. You have to let me know, and then you'd have to be there. I think our meeting's usually right at 4 o'clock, so we can anticipate what truck you're going on or what job you're doing. That would be a big help. So we're not trying to look at right at 5 o'clock, but we would need you guys there probably roughly right at 4 o'clock for our meeting. Let me know, and then we'll get you an assignment and let you know all the ins and outs of it and put you to work. If you
Excellent.
guys
Does
like to
anyone-
donate, feel free and donate to Truck or Treat.
Yes, obviously donate. Number one, donate. Number two, show up at 4 o'clock. Is there a number three?
Sure, the fire commission could take out a truck. Each commissioner puts up $100.
Well, the fire commission takes a truck. Is that what you said?
Sure, they could donate a truck.
All right, this will be discussed in executive session. No, I'm just kidding. They won't. Okay. I will send a separate email.
There you go, Karen.
All right.
So-
Activity. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. So also under my report, this month, we're going to be going to the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance. We're going to be looking to purchase air packs in roughly, and this was in the budget. And I talked to Tony before the budget came out, and we decided that it sounded like a good idea to maybe bond this issue, but air packs are roughly around $100,000 for air packs this year that we need to replace 10 of them, along with 2 RIP packs, along with the bottles that come along with it. Those are the air bottles that the guys wear on their backs going into a fire, into a hazardous condition, which we don't have a choice. We need to replace because once they hit 15 years, we have to replace them per DOT standards. The other issue, the other one we're bringing up is radios, and that's in the area of probably around $430,000. These are all the portable radios that guys have on them, personal radios. So if they can talk on them, if they run into an issue, they're assigned to them, and we know exactly who's in trouble and whatever else. Also, in that number, it also includes we need to replace all the truck radios in the apparatus. They're all obsolete along with the portables, and they're no longer supported. I've had numerous discussions with Tony on this, and he's in agreement. And we're going to be presenting that also this month. And he wants to go out to bond for this, to bond this. The radios are about 6 to 8 months out, and the air packs are probably about 3 to 4 months out. But this is something we really need to do, and we can't wait because this is a major safety issue. These are 2 forms of life support we can't do without.
I have Sean, are there any grants for something like that? Do they have any grants for anything?
Not right now, not for
No.
air packs or for radios at this point
Okay.
that we're eligible for.
Yeah, I thought maybe with federal funding, we could get something out of them, but.
This is also something we put in the budget also. So this is not out of the blue
Okay.
that just came up. So we knew about this, and we anticipated for it.
So it's planned for, okay.
It is.
All right, activity report. I think Assistant Chief Pakowitz.
Yep. So in the month of August, we had 36 calls for 158.06 staff hours. That brought us up to 250 calls for the year with 1,312.64 hours. The breakdown of that, there were 2 fires. There was 1 medical assist. There were 18 hazardous condition no fires. So that's includes 10 separate motor vehicle accidents roll up into that. There was 1 service call, 6 good intent, and 8 false alarms. So we're running a little bit below average. For the month of August, usually we have, by now we've had a couple of storms roll in, and the average is 57 calls a month, and we only had 36. And so far, year to date, we've done 250 calls, and the average is 309. So a little bit lower, and that also consistent with the staffing hours being a little bit lower.
Well, that's good news because for several years we were just increasing every year. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Motor vehicle accidents seem to be up lately too.
Yeah, we're going to a lot more motor vehicle accidents and seeing some semi-serious ones again, ticking up.
Does anyone have any comments or questions? Okay, fire marshal's report.
I was out 128 times, 88 inspections, 17 plan reviews, 16 consulting, 5 fire investigation, and 1 pre-fire plan. We had a structure fire on Baldwin Road, a stove fire. And then, well, I put down for an investigation. The chief sent me up to check on the radio tower where it kept running. But other than that, we're moving right along with the inspections. I'm keeping up with them. And next week we start fire prevention. Tuesday we start fire prevention.
Excellent. Do you want to tell us what you're going to be doing?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Mm-hmm. And where? At Beecher?
Tuesday and Thursday I'm at Beecher, and then we're scheduling there's 6 or 8 preschools we're scheduling in the next 2 weeks.
Nice. Thank you very much for doing that.
So is this just for the kids, or can I show up and get fire training?
Yeah, you could.
Should we ask for stop, drop, and roll training for the commission?
Well, yeah, okay.
Hey, just to go on with that is we had our EMT refresher. We just stop the bleed also through that, along with CPR and EMT refresher. So it's been a busy summer for the guys. So I just want to let
Sean,
you guys
do you want to talk a little bit about Stop the Bleed? Is that something new, or have you had that before? Do you just want to tell the commission a little bit about that?
Sure. So Stop the Bleed, it's more meant for if you have a issue, a mass casualty incident, where if we did have an incident at a school or whatever, they are teaching educators how to do it. There's bags around the building that have tourniquets and different items in that bag to try to help save people, where if you have a major injury, that you could step up and you could actually help try to save somebody. So we are looking at different ways of getting the word out there to do a program like that. During our EMT, Narcan for drug overdose was big. Glucose was big on diabetes, on checking and everything else. Was there anything else?
No, that was the big one.
Those are the pretty big ones, along with some other training that was required. But yeah, human trafficking was another big one that we had to take for EMT, believe it or not. And it happens more frequent than we know about, and we didn't realize even in Connecticut it happens frequently. So it was basically an eye-opening for us to know that. But Stop the Bleed was pretty interesting. So we're looking to try to put a class together to push it out to the public, along with CPR and AED.
Just to add to that, our consultant, or the town's consultant that issued the report about dispatch, he is also instrumental in starting the Stop the Bleed training for educators around the state. He basically started that, and he's implemented it only in like a few schools. And I have spoken with him. I've reached out to the Amity chair of the Board of Ed, and also the Beecher chair, to get Stop the Bleed training for the educators in our schools. And I think it's just, it's unfortunate, but it's really something that really gives everyone peace of mind that they know how to do this. They have resources available to them. And there's 2 pieces of it. There's the training about how to stop bleeding emergently, and also there's kits that our consultant has basically helped design kits that go in every school wherever the defibrillators are. There's also a backpack that contains materials that are necessary to stop the bleeding if there's an emergent event. So I think it's just a really good thing to bring to Woodbridge, and I'm working to do that through the chair of the Board of Ed and also the Amity chair. Okay, the next item is correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
It was sent to everybody. Sean, can you pull it up on your screen?
Yep, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull it up here. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. This was a letter we got from Orange. You guys should have gotten that, where we responded to a house fire, and we gave mutual aid to Orange Fire Department. Bob Ellis gave us $100 donation to the fire department. He's downsizing, and after 37 years of living in Woodbridge, he's moving. So it's something to say. And then we have Truck or Treat. That's all we have for correspondence.
All right, thank you, Sean. Anybody have questions about that? Okay. I think the next thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
No motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
No.
This is for the July meeting minutes. No, no discussion? All right, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next meeting, October 17th. I think we might want to consider moving that in light of the fact that we had to push back our September meeting, and this was the first date where we had a quorum. I think we might want to go to our November meeting as the next meeting. Sean, do you have any thoughts about that? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we can, because we have, I'm just gonna check really quick here. Hang on 1 second. I believe our capital budget is due October 28th. So we have to
Okay.
present that in front of you on the 17th, so we can submit that by the 28th.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Mhm. Everyone available on the 17th?
should be a short meeting. We basically just have the capital budget to present, I think.
All right.
Yep, I'm good.
I'm good too.
All right, and then we have executive session.
I do have one thing before you go into executive session is, so we've been talking to the finance director, first selectman, chairman of the fire commission. We had a meeting last week to discuss the budget. What we'd like to do is, we're the only department that needs commission sign off on the bills and the POs. What we'd like to do is eliminate that, where just a department head, meaning myself, could sign off, and then it would go over to town hall, and Beth and Tony would also sign off on it, just like every other department would do. The reason being for taking the commission out of it is we'd be able to get the bills over in a more timely fashion and get it processed a lot quicker. So I'd like to have you guys see a motion to do that tonight.
All right, and if
Karen.
I can just, yes,
Yep,
yeah,
go ahead.
if I can just speak with that, we had a meeting last week with Beth and Tony, and we just went through the whole process, how it works. And we are one of the only, I think, 2 commissions that has an actual volunteer commissioner sign off on all the bills and invoices over a certain amount. That is not something that's required in our charter or ordinance or bylaws or by state law or anything else. So the result of that has been a delay in processing invoices and purchase orders. And I, asked Tony and Beth at length about the process that they undergo after a particular department submits a signed purchase order or invoice, and basically they review it, and then Tony signs it and Beth signs it. So the department head is generating it. It's being reviewed against the budget. And the department head has to sign it. Tony has to sign it. Beth has to sign it. So I think in terms of internal controls, that's a fairly robust process. And I would say, I have not been the one signing any invoices for the fire department. It's been Mike Horton. But generally speaking, I would say that probably the volunteer member that comes in occasionally to sign invoices and purchase orders probably is not, doesn't have a lot of knowledge about what is being ordered or the budget or where we stand regarding the budget. So, I think it's a pretty robust process to have the department head, the head of finance, and the head executive basically sign off on everything. And I think that is enough protection. I think the inclusion of a voluntary commission member is more of a rubber stamp, someone that doesn't really have a firm grasp, as it should be, on daily operations of the department.
And that's okay with the finance director, with Tony and Beth? That's what they want to do?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. So
good.
their experience is that there's been delays, and it's inevitable. You have a volunteer commissioner who is working full time and stopping by to sign checks. It's not really going to be a meaningful exercise, in my opinion, because they're not really involved in the day-to-day operations of the department. That's really the job of the department head. And then with the oversight of, number one, the commission approves the budget, and then the finance officer and the executive are making sure that the expenditures are in line with the budget. So I think it's as robust as it can be, and I don't think the inclusion of a volunteer commissioner adds a lot to the process in terms of internal controls.
Okay.
Karen, do you want to make a motion?
Yes, I will. Well, I will ask for a motion to approve the removal of the requirement that a volunteer commissioner sign off on purchase orders opened by the department.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the
Do
motion.
I have? Okay, do we have any further discussion?
Karen, it's not, can we just add, it's not just purchase orders, the motion, it's all invoices as well. If we just do purchase orders, we need somebody to come in for invoices. So can we just make the motion to sign up on purchase orders and invoices?
Yes, so amended.
Thank you.
Well, actually, Stephanie, you would have to amend your motion.
I'll amend the motion to include the invoices and the purchase orders.
Okay, and
I will,
we know what.
I will, yep, I will second the amended motion.
All right, any further discussion? Okay,
No.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay. Anything else, Sean?
Nope, I'm good. Going to
All right,
executive
and
session.
do we need to go into executive session?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Do I have a
Second.
second?
No second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Karen, you have to make a motion who you want in an executive session.
Okay, invite the Chief Roland into executive session. Do I have can someone make that motion?
Do you want to invite Nate Case in also?
Yes,
It's on the call.
yes. Can someone make that motion?
I'll make a motion to invite our chief and Nate Case.
I'll
Do I have a
second the
second?
motion.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We are in executive session.
You guys have to log out of this, and then you should have another login for executive session.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you,
WPATV,
everyone.
Are you okay if we let you know tomorrow?